Hi everybody, welcome to this very short introduction to calculating storage or file size on a computer. Okay, so let's say we have something like a hard disk drive or a USB stick or a video file, okay? And let's say that it's this big, it's this many bytes. Now we're using the metric number system. This is Human's number system, okay? And really the magic number here is 1,000. Because if I want to calculate how many kilobytes there are from this number, I'm just going to take that number and I'm going to divide it by 1,000. So there are 525,000 kilobytes. And if I want to find out how many megabytes there are, I'm just going to take that kilobytes value and divide it by 1,000. So there are 525 megabytes. If I want to find out how many gigabytes there are, I'm just going to take the number of megabytes and divide that by 1,000. And that will tell me how many gigabytes there are. And if I want to find out how many terabytes there are, I'm just going to take the number of gigabytes and divide it by 1,000. Okay, so this many bytes is the same as 0.000525 terabytes. Okay, now this is when we are using the metric number system, the Dernary system, when we're working with file size. But computer scientists and people who design things like hard drives, they like to use the binary number system. So if we take the same number, but we're using the binary number system, we're no longer going to divide by 1,000. We're going to divide by 1,024. So because we're going to get a different answer, we really need to give the unit a different name. So when we're using the binary number system, if we want to calculate the number of kibibytes of a file size or a storage value, we simply take the number of bytes and we divide it by 1,024. Okay, and if we want to find the number of mebibytes, we take the number of kibibytes and we divide it by 1,024. And if we want to find the number of gibibytes, we take the number of mebibytes and we divide it by 1,024. So this number here is the same as 48.89 gibibytes. If we want to find the number of tebibytes, we take the number of gibibytes and we divide it by 1,024. If we want to find the number of pebibytes, we take the number of tebibytes and we divide it by 1,024. We're starting to get a really small number now. Okay. And if we want to find the number of exbibytes, we take the number of pebibytes and we divide it by 1,024. Okay, so we're starting to get some really small numbers here. 4.55 times 10 to the power minus 8. So this number of bytes here is a really small number of exbibytes. Now what I was going to do was just go into my system information file, system information, go into the components, and where is it? Storage, drives. I can see that my hard drive has this number of bytes. So let's just take that number. How can I do this easily? Let's just put that over there for a minute. Let's reduce that for a minute. Let's bring that up there. Okay, let's go back to kilobytes and let's go back to the Dernary system that we were using before. I'm just going to take this number here and I'm going to put in the size of my C drive on my computer, which is 523,635,109,888 bytes. That's how big my C drive is. So that is 523 gigabytes, or it's half a terabyte. That's how big my C drive, my hard drive is. It's half a terabyte. Let's go and see how big that number is. I'm just going to copy it. How big is that number in tebibytes? Just about the same. It's 0.47 tebibytes. And it's 0.52 terabytes. So it doesn't look like there's a big difference between those two numbers, 0.52 and 0.47. But these numbers are so big that actually there is a very big difference between those two values.